turn it into a layer. What is the cross-browser story with that?
Yeah, so it is a very specific thing to the WebKit Blink. So it is unique to some degree. It's unique to Safari and Chrome and Opera, and because there are changes that can happen in Safari that are different to Chrome. Obviously, there's no guarantee that that list of criteria about creating a layer would either stay the same in Chrome and Opera, or that it would match up entirely to Safari. It's an implementation detail. So, what was the question again? Whether people should do it? Is that the cross-browser story? Firefox, as far as I know, their reasons for promoting are similar but not the same.
Yep.
And
are they going to auto-promote fixed position?
Yes, the fixed position one is actually one of the biggest ones. The reason we don't currently promote fixed position elements is because it changes the text rendering. And it's something that we're working on to try and
What's the deal with that?
So you can have two types. Oh, thanks for asking. Two types of text rendering. There's grayscale and subpixel, and you will switch from subpixel to grayscale if it goes onto a non-root layer, i.e., it's you created a layer. The text rendering will switch from subpixel to grayscale. A lot of people go ugh when they see grayscale. The caveat for this, so this is why we don't do it, right? So we don't ruin your text rendering. The caveat for this is that you can't tell the difference on Retina, so we actually auto-promote on Retina screens. My hope is, in the long term, that this is a non-issue, it's a non-thing. But as I said during the presentation, I'm pragmatic enough to realize that most of the time, you're probably going to know better and go, actually, I know I'm going to repaint that thing, just put it on its own layer. And for Chrome, Safari, and Opera, that's currently the way you do it, as far as I know.
A brand new question just came in. How do icon fonts affect render time? I guess this would be, so using a font with icon dingbats for symbols rather than a sprited image. How would you evaluate the performance difference in reflow and repaint?
Reflow and repaint? I have not spent enough time looking at that as a comparison, if I'm completely honest. Have you?
No.
Chuck it to the other pole.
But I would say layout. So the example that you showed before where like the two columns with all the text, it was all animating.
Yeah.
The layout cost was enormous because it had to figure out where all the text positions are and like figure out where the new paragraphs end and such. So we're figuring out the geometry of all those text nodes and how much space they take up.
Yeah.
With an icon font, you often